If you're sick to death of trying to get a handle on your diet and you've been struggling for years, let me help you so that long term you can actually do it easily, simply, and without the fucking fuss. So listen, to give you a little bit of context, I've been in the fitness, mindset, and health industry for over a decade now. For 10 years, I struggled with the diet side of things. From 16, I got my first book, and it was weight training for men. I had no idea what I was doing. I just turned 16. It was talking about the gym, switching brown bread for white, drinking more orange juice for vitamin C, all the basic kind of shit, right? So I was looking into it, and I thought, right, I'm going to try and get my diet on track because then that'll help with my muscle growth. At the time, I started training because I was actually, quite frankly, insecure. I was very insecure. I was bullied at school. I was a skinny kid. I didn't feel confident in who I was, so I started to lift weights. And I thought, right, well, let's lift a bit of weights and eat more protein and see where this goes. And I was confused. And then I started to realize it's the weekend. I'll start on Monday. And guess what? Maybe like you were the start on Monday guy for years. And that was me, start on Monday. And then obviously I got into drink, and I got into cocaine, and I got into ecstasy, and I got into smoking weed. And obviously getting your diet on track when you're consuming those things and copious amounts of alcohol on a weekend is very, very difficult. So what would you do? You'd be great Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Come Thursday, Friday, it would be wind down, start again on Monday. Fuck it, doesn't matter. Do it next week. Fuck it, after my holiday. Fuck it, after Christmas. Fuck it, after this, after that. Do it later, right? I was the start on Monday guy for 10 fucking years. 10 years, I'd start on Monday. When I hit 26, I started to change my profession. So I actually started looking at becoming a personal trainer and a life coach and a health coach. And I worked on mindset, and I started to change my identity first, which was the number one helpful tool in helping me understand my diet more. But first off, I failed for 10 years before I got it right. So every weekend I'd keep trying on Monday. So if you keep trying on Monday, at least you're still fucking trying. The one that gives up and doesn't bother, that's the one that's in trouble. So let me talk to you about the mindset of it, because believe it or not, your diet is never going to get on track if you still call it a diet. The issue is diet means restriction. Diet also means temporary. So if something's temporary and restrictive, does that feel appealing? Does it fuck? Does it feel like you want to go and get through it and achieve it? And are you excited to do it? Or you fuck? So this is the issue with most people, is we're looking to diet while waiting results. You've heard the phrase, you can't out-train a bad diet. And that's true, but what it basically means is you can't train in the gym and eat loads of shit and expect great results. So you have to get your diet side of things. And I use the word diet loosely. I tell my clients this all the time. I say, stop using the word diet. You don't need a fucking diet, you need a lifestyle. And this is what I specialize in, lifestyle expansion. Living a lifestyle, a style of life that fits for you, that gets you the results you want, where you never, ever, ever, ever have to fucking diet again. Because a diet is unappealing. A diet is something you don't really want to do. But living a healthy way of life is something you can actually get fucking excited about. It's actually something you can do. So here's first off in your mind, right? People think that the whole diet side of things, and again, I'm using the term loosely and I'm putting it in quotation marks because it's a word used to describe something. It's basically what goes in your mouth, right? Your nutrition. Eating habits is basically your diet, right? But people think diet as restrictive calories, low mood, hungry all the time, feel like shit, lose the weight but feel crap, and then go off a diet, on a diet. And the thing is, if you think about successful people, right? Maybe people that you've seen lose the weight and keep it off over the years. Or you've seen really successful people who, have done it either over a few year period or a few months and then kept going. Successful people who are successful at keeping the weight off, they don't have an off switch. If you're trying to diet, you have an off switch, meaning you can switch off your diet, then you switch on to your diet. Those that keep the weight off don't switch on and off. They're always on. Meaning, it's not to say they don't indulge, they don't enjoy ice cream, pizza, chips. I enjoy that every weekend. But I live a lifestyle that allows that. But I never use the word going on a diet. I'm never, ever, ever, ever on a diet. And if you're watching this video, I want you to get to the end of it and think to yourself, I am never, ever dieting again. What a beautiful place to be. Never, ever dieting again. And I can show you how to do that. If we think about the word diet, we have to eliminate the word diet from our vocabulary and only use it to describe occasionally what goes in our mouth. It's better to use a word like nutrition, because what nutrition means is basically that signifies food going in that is nutritious. And if we nourish our body with high quality nutrition like fruits and vegetables and single ingredient foods in good quantities, of course, not too oversaturated in quantity, then we can nourish the body more, meaning we'll feel better, we'll get healthier. Ultimately, when we feel better and we get healthier, we treat ourselves better, we train better and harder, we eat better foods, and we get better results because we nourish ourselves through nutrition. So first off, eliminate the word diet. Get rid of it. Fuck it off. And think about introducing the word nutrition. Healthy nutrition. Now, healthy is another one. If you're not very educated, you can view healthy as boring. Because what does healthy sometimes scream? It's not as exciting as a burger and chips. It's not as exciting as the lovely pie or pizza or cakes that I get to experience. It's not to say you can't experience those things, but as soon as you talk about being healthy, people think that you can't eat them things. You fucking can. If you're on a healthy lifestyle, chocolate fucking milkshake is part of a healthy, balanced lifestyle. Carrot cake and a bag of sweets occasionally is part of a healthy fucking lifestyle. But getting the balance is where people go wrong. So back to nutrition. When we fill our bodies with 70 to 80% nutritious single ingredient foods, the other 20 to 30% can be whatever the fuck you want. That's my rule. So if you're eating, for example, 30 times a week, if we were to use the 20% rule, 24 of those meals should be clean, healthy, more or less single ingredient, minimally processed, high nutrition, fruits, vegetables, nuts, meats, etc. The other 5 or 6 meals can be anything you fucking want, which means you can give yourself permission on a weekend to have a couple of treat meals or once during the week. Now, this is all going to depend on your goal, of course, because calories in, calories out still matter when it comes to weight loss. And let's be honest, most people want to lose weight and drop body fat, right? And in order to do that, the only way you're going to do that is calorie deficit. Now, there's several ways to reduce your calories. You can obviously increase your activity and reduce the calories going in, which is one of the best ways to lose weight. Or you could just reduce the calories going in and not expend the calories going out, not go to the gym, not go out for walks, not exercise, which is the hardest option to do. The purpose of this video is not to go deep into that, it's to describe about how to stay on track with your diet. But that does lead me into the next point. So we've taken out the word diet and replaced it with nutrition or healthy lifestyle, which is very, very useful. Take away the diet. Don't diet ever again. We'll live a healthy lifestyle. The second part of this is if you want to get a handle on your diet, when you start increasing your activity and you track your performance, it is always easier to get a handle on what you put in your mouth. You go to the gym, you do a hard workout, you go out and you do a run, whatever. You don't go back home and go, I'm going to eat pizza, kebab and chips right now and sit with a bag of fucking Doritos. Do you fuck? Now, you might say that a few days later when you haven't trained, but once you've trained, what do you always usually do? Look for a healthier choice. Because you don't want to spoil the results of the efforts you've put in. So the more fucking physical effort you put in and get off your arse, the better the choices are with what you put in your mouth. This is why I feel it's very, very important as well to train as much as you can on an early morning. Because what an early morning training does is, A, it stops you having excuses later in the day to say, I can't make the gym, I've got too much on, something's happened. Because at 6 o'clock in the morning, nobody fucking needs your attention apart from you. Number 2, it sets you up for better choices throughout the day. So you're not saying, I'll have this and then burn it off at the gym later. You feel better on the morning so that you make better choices for your breakfast and your lunch and ultimately your dinner. And it gets you into a better sleep and wake cycle, which ultimately regulates your hormones and your mood and your actual appetite when you sleep better as well. So if you get up earlier, you go to bed earlier, and this tends to regulate a more natural and better rhythmical cycle with your hormones, which regulate your hunger levels and your happiness levels at the same time. Getting a handle on your diet once and for all. Eliminate the word diet, replace it with nutrition, and educate yourself on nutrition. I've got several videos and resources on that. Talk about healthy lifestyle. Think about longer term, which leads me into the third piece of this puzzle in terms of getting your diet on track. Number 1, we eliminate the word diet. Take it out. Get rid of it. Fuck it off. Number 2, we increase our levels of regular activity on a daily and weekly basis, meaning we train ideally in a structured time and environment, like a gym, for example. You don't have to. You can go out walking or running or climbing or martial arts, but some gym environment where other people are training as well, more days of the week than not. When you get that cracked, your diet stays on track way better. Now, the third part of this is possibly one of the most important, and that is thinking about your future plan. Where do you want to actually go? See, because the reason why people suffer with that diet is because it's temporary, like we said. We never think about what we're going to do when we finish it. There should never be a finish point for your diet. Like people ask for a 6-week diet plan or a 12-week nutrition plan or a 6-month shred, right? This is why bodybuilding creates so many actual mental health problems, especially with food and food addictions and issues, because it's so strict and there's such an end point and a start point. It's like you have to figure out a way that is healthy for you and doable for you, where you can navigate the emotions of things not going to plan, but also being able to get back on track almost immediately when shit does go south. So the third part of this is a longer term plan. Now, who's going to do that for you? Well, you could do one yourself, or you could invest in a program, coach, or mentor that will help you with a longer term plan and vision. Like, where do you want to be this time next year? Most people don't think about that with their weight loss. They're just like, I want to lose 10 pounds for the summer so I can get into that dress, or go on holiday and take my shirt off if I lose a stone or two. Well, that's great, but what when you fucking finish? See, most people never think this far ahead. You've got to be thinking about where you want to be this time next year. Imagine people grossly overestimate. They totally overestimate what they can do in 6 to 12 weeks. They think, I'll do this in 6 to 12 weeks. I'll knuckle down. I'll be all or nothing. I'll be all in. I'll do amazing. But they grossly underestimate what they can do in 6 to 12 months. So if you were to actually take your time a little bit more, educate yourself a little bit more, not put too much pressure on yourself, not be the all or nothing person, which is so bad for you, by the way. I'm an all or nothing person, me, identity trait. If you can't do it all, which in life, kids are going to come into play, family's going to come into play, holidays are going to come into play, illness is going to come into play. What if you can't do it all? You do nothing. And your identity is, well, I'm an all or nothing person. I stand here proud, so if I can't do it all, I'll do nothing. So I'll just start when I'm ready. And that sucks for you, because guess what you'll be if you're an all or nothing person? On your diet, off your diet, on your diet, off your diet, on your diet, off your diet. What if you could just be not ever switching off? And an all or nothing person can't do that. So what do you have to become? A little and often person. Someone who's okay with doing a lot at once, but if you can't do it all, you do a little and you're happy with that. And this is a difficult concept for people to grasp, because they can't quite see how they can just do a little bit and for it to be enough. Well, I only did this, I was shit this week because I only did that and it was a bit shit. And I've been crap at this, and we always notice the negatives, right? We always notice what we didn't do. We far easier beat ourselves up for what we didn't do rather than give ourselves credit for what we did do. So we have to consider this point as well. At the end of every week, taking a little bit of a weekly review on the wins that you did have, the things that you did get better than the previous week, the things that you did take action on that you procrastinated on the week before. We have to consider very, very closely that the way we operate ourselves is the way that our results are going to show in this world. We can complain about our boss and our kids and our partner not being supportive and the government and life and social media and family. Or we can say, you know what, if I'm pointing the finger or fingers, I'm failing to see the ones pointing straight back at me. We are ultimately responsible for our results. Not our parents, not our kids, not our boss, us. We have to accept responsibility for where we are and where we want to go. And the way we operate says everything in that. The way that we operate day to day, life doesn't shift in huge angles. Sometimes it can with catastrophic events, or, when someone makes a life-changing decision and they leave their job and they follow their dream, or they leave a 20-year relationship. Like, sometimes life shifts in big angles, like 90 degree or a 180, and we do something totally different. But that's very few and far between. The real shifts, the monumental shifts, happen in degrees, one little shift at a time. But often we think that little won't matter. But if you think about the formula for success and failure, it is as follows. The formula for failure is small errors and judgment practiced every day. Think about that, small things that you're just not that bad, like the 1 or 2 biscuits that just creep into 6 and 7, the times that you just press the snooze one more time and sleep in and miss out on everything. The little small errors in judgment repeated every single day equal your failure. The formula for success is small, simple disciplines practiced every day. Practiced every day. Now, if you can't get every day, does that mean you should do no days? No. If you miss Monday, you do Tuesday. If you miss Tuesday, you do Wednesday. If you miss breakfast, you just go to the next meal. Simple disciplines, small things that you think are seemingly insignificant. Like just saying no to that chocolate bar. Just saying yes to getting up an hour earlier, going to bed an hour earlier. It's small. Seems seemingly insignificant. Giving yourself actually appreciation for what you have done at the end of the week rather than what you haven't. You have to consider all of these facts are relevant when it comes to getting a handle on your diet. People say to me all the time, I'm just struggling to get a handle on the diet. You're not. You're struggling to get a handle on your fucking self. And that's the truth. You don't have a diet problem, you have a you problem. It's how you manage this. What goes in here is all to do with how you manage your emotions, how you manage your thought process, what perspective you have on things, the idea you have about the world and yourself, but more importantly, as a whole, your identity. If you're an all or nothing person, as I stated, you will always be on it or off it. If you've always been fat, you will struggle. That's fine. It might be factual that you've always been fat, but that doesn't mean that you are fat. It means that you have fat. Think about that. If you believe you are a fat person, you just are a big bone person, you just are the way you are and you've always been this way, you're going to continue to be that way. But if you believe that you have fat, then what you have, you can get rid of. And if you want to lose fat, you've got to also bear in mind that people want to lose weight, lose fat. What if you were to understand that whatever you lose, you're pre-programmed to find again? So you should never ever want to lose weight. Terrible goal. Shit goal. You should never ever want to lose fat. Drop fat, because if you drop something, you want to bend over and pick it up again. If you lose something, you want to find it, and you will. How many times have you gained a stone, lost a stone, gained 2 stone, lost 2 stone? And I know I'm talking to someone right here. Never ever drop or lose weight, ever. Never make that goal, ever. What you want to make is a goal to burn fat, burn weight, get rid of it, because if you burn something, it's fucking permanent, and you don't want that shit coming back on you. Now, several things that we have to do in order to get that to permanently burn. Will it say that you go on holiday and won't gain a few pounds? Of course you will. But if you have the knowledge, if you have the mindset transformation and shift, you will understand that it ain't about getting rid, losing, it's about burning. And through the terminology of, and the language of burning something, if we think about burning fat, we automatically think that we can't just burn fat by sitting on our arse. Feel the burn. We associate it with muscle burn. We associate it with feel the burn in our chest when we're doing some cardio-related exercise that pumps our blood and makes us feel alive, and we feel like we are burning calories to move, which in fact we are. So burning weight should always be your goal over losing weight. Now, there are several other things that I could talk about, but I feel like this is probably enough in this video to help you get along your way. I would love to know in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway from this whole video? I will look forward to the conversation below. I'll see you on the next one. If you'd like to learn how to create outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control, my second book, Supercharged, the modern day guide to doing exactly that, is out now.